Alright lads and lasses, welcome along, another Tuppence Tuesday. Do you know what? We've started to do a few things, we've started to mess around and have a look and see kind of how we lay down some reports, how we start to pull in our data, build a data model, rate a couple of measures. But you know what we haven't really touched on in a lot of detail? There's the theory behind actually what makes a good page. Yeah, and honestly, with this stuff, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you can make a great data model, fantastic set of measures, but if when you put that together on a page, it looks a bit like a dog's dinner, well, you know, your message isn't going to get across, is it really? So let's look at the Power BI that we did before, yeah? So those of you who stuck with a bit with our trials at the beginning, and honestly I've been using this every day since we built it. This is my sample dashboard that I built, yeah, based on the COVID-19 response data. Have a quick look. I didn't spend a lot of time on formatting. If you remember, we did some stuff about colours and things, and honestly, as I've been getting at this, I want to change them. There's a few issues I've noticed, and I'll change them, and I'll go through and I'll show you the rest of that later. But the theory behind what's going to drive that is what I thought I'd talk to you about today. So I've got this. This looks alright, I think, but it's not amazing, right? It does a great job for me, and I can look and I can see it and say, right, the global average growth rate is 2.3%. That's global across everybody. What's it looking like? We can zoom in a bit on Europe and we can see, oh, how lads, yet again, the UK, we're lagging behind. We can click on the UK and we can see we're at 2.3, we're at nearly 2.4% for the growth rate. So we're just above the global average still for our growth on it. And if we hover over it, I've put a little thing over here so we can actually see a tooltip that gives us a bit more information. The whole thing though, it's not quite gelled enough for us. It's not where I'd really like a report pack to be yet. But that's fine. You know, we did this with some quick and dirty bit of data gathering, pulled it in, looks great, wanged some stuff together. But we need to get that next level, didn't we? Now you remember that we had a look and we went through and said, right, what do we need to do? First thing we need to do is let's work on some theming. So if we remember, if we look at the view and look at the themes, you'll actually see if we customize the current theme, we're using the COVID-19 theme. So this is the theme file that we wrote, we built it, and we re-ingested and we put it back into a data model. So it was all there, it was all looking good. That's not bad, that's great still for us. But there's some more you can do with this. One of the things that a lot of people didn't realise is if you click on here and you go back to your visualizations and you click on your paint roller, you've got the idea you can, or the options to put in the page background. Page backgrounds are great. Wallpaper, honestly, you can do some great stuff with wallpaper, but I wouldn't recommend it for a business. And you'll see as you start to experiment with it, because wallpaper is the whole area of the page. So you can't manage it as well. So if it's busy or it's something like that, you know, like a picture or something, yeah, it'd be great to put like the Tyne Bridge. Honestly, every report needs a big Tyne Bridge in the back of it. But because of the way it would move, depending on your screen size, you wouldn't be able to guarantee what appeared where on it. What's far better is to use a page background, because with a page background I can say, right, I want my screen layout to be roughly this size or this dimension set. And if we have a look, you'll see, look at the page information, it's not the page information, page size even. These are going to be 16 by 9 pages. It's pretty standard these days. So a 16 by 9 page, get a 16 by 9 image, whack that there, and then you know what's going to appear, where it's going to appear, and you can have a nice standard layout for people. Yeah? So how do we put that together, eh? Dead simple. Do you know the idea with this? Honestly, keep it simple, always makes it easy. First thing I always do is get into PowerPoint. And now we spend a lot of time saying, oh, Power BI, we're trying to get rid of PowerPoint. We're not really. What we're trying to do is stop people having to build reports in PowerPoint. But you can still use PowerPoint, and PowerPoint's still pretty good at giving you slide layouts. And if you're coming from a business, chances are you've got a corporate standard set of slide layouts is one that they want you to use. So getting here is great. Get these built. I've just spent, 10 minutes it took us to do these. They're not perfect, I'll be honest. I probably wouldn't be happy using them if it was a proper thing. but I thought I wanted to show you just how quick and easy these are to build. So all I did with this was I went in, started a new page, gave it a background, and then I've stuck some shapes on it and a line across the top, giving them some nice uniform borders. And I thought, right, these are the layouts that we're going to have our options that we can use. Yeah, so I've got slide layout 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then all you need to do is go to File, Export, change the file type, export as a PNG file, save as, and give it a location. Dead easy. Honestly, couldn't say fairer than that, man. That's about as easy as it gets, isn't it? So we've got our Power BI file, and if we have a look over here, you can see got PNG files, got me 4 layouts there, ready to go now. One of the things I want you to think through is the importance, right? Now, the way the human mind works is generally, and honestly, I don't know if it's still true, if it's true for like Asian Pacific language sets or for like the Arabic language set, but certainly for the Western world and for the way I was taught, it's like top left across is the way the mind works and down. So what you want to be doing almost, and I think this is true certainly for the most of the world that I'm aware of, is you have your top line, which is your most important stuff. So that's where you'll put your top level metrics in. So that's where I've got one of these with 5 boxes across the top. You could have 6, you could have 10, you can have whatever you want, but have a think about what you want to display on there. Now them are going to be your top level numbers. Then as you go down, you start to get into the more detailed level. My advice with Power BI is don't try and make your pages huge, so you've got to scroll around on them. Power BI report pages, differences at times with dashboards, but report pages, you want to be making it really clear that this is a page for consumption. I want to view me page, I want to view me report, this is how it's going to be viewed. You'll see if we look in the data set we've got that you do need to do some scrolling, but what we try and do is have that within the context of a visual rather than it being I need to scroll the whole page up and down, just because it makes it more difficult, it makes it more challenging. Because if we do it within the context of a visual, and I'll show you the one that I mean, it actually becomes possible to start to actually sort it appropriately so that once again the top of the visual is relative to what you need. Yeah? So that was going back to Power BI. Let's see what it's like when we've put all that stuff together, had a quick crack on with it, made it look a bit better, I think. So I've took this page, we can see it's really useful, I can do a lot with it and I can really understand it. But I hope you can agree that if we have a look on the formatted page, it's the same information, it's the same data that we had there before, but it's just that little bit easier, I think, to understand. It's a little bit clearer. So what I've done here is I've added a couple of columns on there just because when I slotted on here, I made this wider. Now I could have swapped these visuals over, it would work either way, but what I wanted to do was to put this variance from global on. Now this variance from global is a really important measure in the context of this. Now the global growth percentage is 2.3%. So if a country is higher than that, then obviously they're doing worse than the rest of the world on average, aren't they? Really, that's kind of what we're saying. So what you really want to be doing, if you're saying we're a great country, we're doing our best, man, everyone's rallying around, doing a great job of it, you want to bring those numbers down, don't you? So you want to have a look, say it's Spain. Now Spain's just starting to let some folk out, and everyone's going, oh, what's Spain playing at? They're letting people out. Wait, I tell you what, when you're 0.4, 1.9 percentage points below the average, the global growth rate, I don't think there's much people can complain about. I think that's probably a sensible thing. You're showing that you know what you're doing. It makes sense. You can follow the logic on that. Do the same, click on Italy. That's San Marino, man. Italy. Dots are so small and close together, aren't they? 0.7%. So again, they've done a great job. You can see the average growth, like the daily growth charts here. I've just put that trend line on because I think that makes all the difference. You understand what's going on. You know, we talk about flattening the curve, don't we? That's what everyone says, oh, I want to flatten the curve, bring it down. Look at that. That's going almost, that's going nice and down, that one. Look at France. Still going down. Oh, click on the global, haven't I? France still going down. 0.2%. Click on Germany. Down. You really get the impression, you can understand now why these countries are starting to say, do you know what? We can start to unleash it. Well, not unleash. Let go of the lockdown. Start to release some of the measures we've got in place. Got the UK and West to say, oh, we want to release some of the stuff. We're just about now flat, maybe starting to go down. I think that's just about going down. The thing I'd be cautious of, I've noticed there's a bit of a trend with the countries, just with the time it's taken to test people. Mondays, Tuesdays still seem a bit low, so I'd probably wait till Wednesday, Thursday before making a decision based on any data sets here. I'm still seeing some trending downwards on those on the start of the week. But you get the picture. Suddenly it becomes a much easier frame to, well, discuss, isn't it, really? Understanding what your data is. And just by laying it out here, I think it makes it much easier to consume. So someone can come, they can pick up this report, they can have a look at it, they can say, all right, okay, you can see we've put some trends on it. You can see all I've done here is just put a visual over a shape there. And the way I did it, if we go back to our main page, back to a paintbrush, page background, I've pulled that in, I've set it to fit normally because it should be the same size. I could set it to fill it. And then we'll have to shuffle our visuals around a bit with that. And then all you do is you place your visuals and you just try and roughly shape them up. And it's one of them where you need to be a bit careful because some of them being on the line isn't necessarily going to make it look right because they might have a border, especially with a map, say. For the map as well, you might want to, we could look at some of the other options that we've got with the map. So the map styles. So this is the road style. What we might find is if we go with the dark style of the map, straight away that might give us a better view given the context of what we've got here. Yeah, or likewise you could say light or grayscale. But the core thing with this is that you're starting to think about how am I presenting this chart to everyone? How are my viewers going to consume it? And as we're looking through and we're just starting to shape this up and make it look that little bit neater, it starts to just look that little bit more professional. These ones, all I've done is I've converted these to KPIs and brought in the daily trend. Change a visual, brought in the dates, value for it. Bosh, job done. What you might decide to do, because these are just going to gan on in, is put a relative date filter on it. Remember, didn't include today, because these data points go up to yesterday. So 28 days, we can see that. We might say, tell you what, I want to get to 42 days, just so we can actually see some chance of growth on there. Do the same with the death rates. Let's check that out. Relative dates, tell you what, let's just go up to 28 days back. So you can see what's actually happening much more clearly, much easier with this. And that's not really been that hard. I built a page or an image to go as a background. I pasted it in, or I brought it into the backgrounds. And then we've just dragged and dropped our visuals that we already had into a slightly new layout. I've stacked some on top of each other just to show you can do that as well. That's something people didn't realize as well, that you can start to actually stack some visuals. So the core message is really structure of your visualization page will make everything much easier for your consumers to understand. Much easier, much clearer, much more concise. This page, I hope you can see, is much easier to view than it was here. And honestly, there's more information on the formatted page than there is here because I've got trends on these two at least. This one's here, and frankly all I've done is I've put the trend from this one on here and combined that into one visual so that it actually is, everything's there on the page. So if I go and decide to sort, I can do it, I can see it. I don't have to hover over it to see, oh, Russia is going like, it's quite bad, it's at 5.6 percentage points above the global average. That's having a bad time, isn't it? There, we can zoom in, we can have a look at anything else, but it's all there ready for me to interact with it, and it's ready, it's hopefully intuitive for other people to have a look at it and to interact with it as well. So that's it for Tuppence Tuesday. I hope you'll have a look at that and have a think about how best you can start to lay out your reports in the data that you've got in your businesses, or, you know, whatever you're doing at home, really. So right now, stay home, stay safe, keep looking out for each other.